Hazen Titus was the head of dining cars for the NP. He was at the western end of the line, sourcing locally grown foods to add to the menu of the North Coast Limited. He asked some local farmers what they had to offer.
When Titus came around, he said, "What can be grown around here?" And his answer, one of the things was they grow this giant russet potato, a variety of russet potato that weighed around 2 pounds that they'd use for cattle feed. He said they could be cut up and cooked, but they had a hard time cooking them because they're so big, by the time you got the center warm and cooked, the outer stuff was overdone. And anyway, Titus took a sack of potatoes or a couple sacks of potatoes back to St. Paul and went to work on trying to cook them and figured out a way of cooking them at a lower temperature for a while and then only turning up the heat for the last little bit. And it became a great hit and one of the biggest advertising promotional things for the Northern Pacific dining thing.
And sure enough, the NP instituted something that became one of its advertising points for passenger travel, the route of the great big baked potato. So even as late as the 1960s, if you were riding on the North Coast Limited into Seattle, for example, or on the Main Streeter, which was the name of one of their other passenger trains, you would go by the NP's commissary just before you made the stop at King Street Station. And you'd look over there, and on top of the commissary building was this great big giant potato with its potato eyes in it that were illuminated at night. And it was quite the sight.
And they even wrote a song about the great big baked potato.
In going from Seattle, I took the North Coast train. Because my time was limited, I wished some time to gain. I crossed the Great Columbia, where roses were in bud, then wandered into dinner, and there met Dr. Spud. 'Twas lying on a platter, sure something just immense, served with a spoon and butter, and it only cost 10 cents. It was split right up the center, filled with butter, and what's better, it was sweet and hot and mealy. Was it good? Well, I should stutter. Oh, you great big baked potato, you are Irish through and through. You may talk of your lobsters, clams, and oysters too, but just try that potato, it's good for you. If you want a sure thing hunch for your breakfast, dinner, or lunch, on the NPR in the dining car, get a great big baked potato.